Welcome your host, Caddy Frank, as she leads discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Got to wait for that intro music just to kind of roll into a class. Wow, where am I right now? Roll into this beautiful show. Who's across the table from me?
Hi, Sarah.
Sarah, you've heard her voice before.
Yes.
That's Sarah Kemp, like the ice cream.
Like the ice cream.
Here at
Every time.
Minnesota Recovery Connection, redefining recovery, a recovery revolution. Yay!
Yay! And it's Friday.
Yeah, they think it's Saturday, but that's okay.
It's Friday now.
Yes, we do tape ahead of time, folks. So we're happy it is the day that it is. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to all our generous funders, and maybe those of you who have donated now and then. Thank you very much, and don't hesitate to continue doing that. But including the Patrick and Amy Butler Foundation, Otto Bremer Trust, the Sauer Family Foundation, the Hardenberg Foundation, alongside many others. We have some great grants. We have some great humans. We've got people taking classes. But if anybody is interested in contributing to our organization, feel free at minnesotarecovery.org and hit that little donate button. Right, Sarah?
Yes, please.
Yes, and they come through right to Sarah's email.
They do. And then we send you a thank you card.
Yeah. So, Sarah, hey, besides being the Friday, what's right with you today?
Oh, my. I think just being grateful for the life that I have. And I've experienced this over the last month or so, just doing the work that we're doing and hearing the things that we hear at work and through volunteers and things. And just so grateful that when I go home, like, I'm done. I just have my cats, my boyfriend. Like, we just do life.
Yeah.
You know? How about you, Caddy? What's right with you today?
What's right with me today? There's a gratefulness that's coming through me as well. I have got some incredible friends. A good friend of mine who's been with me a gajillion years. We've sort of gone on a new journey of our friendship lately.
Oh, okay.
And it's super, super nice.
Okay.
I'll give the initials KK.
Okay.
The initials. She may listen at some point, may not, but she and I, we all, life goes through so many different transitions, and particularly when you're not early on the planet, you've been around for a while, like I have, the dinosaur at work, as I say. And so, life goes through a lot of transitions, and I'm sure you feel that as well. So, and I think, one of the things that's super important about the work that we do, and I think what we're going to talk about when we start our segment, is that there are so many things that we can do to help the recovery community, but really help all of our communities. And we were just mentioning a couple of organizations that, we're all sort of in a land of unknown for some funding sources for nonprofit organizations. And I only say that it's not from a political perspective. It's from just because things are happening in the world.
And it's in the news every day, I feel like. So it's hard to not.
Yeah, exactly. And so what can we do as a community to support all different levels of community?
And so, remind people there are still good people in the world.
There's a lot of good people. I think, we were talking about when we were coming here, and that is, I'd say 97% of us are absolutely honorable, great humans. And then there's that little portion that doesn't quite exactly see things the way we see it, but that's okay too.
Yep.
Because we have to all get along.
Yes, and it's okay to have different thoughts, opinions,
perspectives,
what have you. But how can we still come together for our community to make a difference?
Exactly. And I want to just sort of have that goodwill out there when things are confusing and frustrating and you're not sure what you don't know, but how can we have a good, solid conversation, agree to disagree sometimes. Sarah and I've got quite a few thoughts out there about how we work in our recovery community, but then our recovery community is so much bigger than that. So when we come back from break, Sarah and I are going to have a discussion about community
and the importance.
And the importance of it. Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll catch you back here in a little bit, folks. Thank you. listen to that popping music.
I always think sunshine.
I know,
with this one.
Yeah, just like, hey, it's kind of a good day.
This guitar needs 16.
Despite the wind and the...
Yeah.
But I always think summer and sunshine with this one.
I know. It's a happy tune. So here we are at Minnesota Recovery Connections, Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution with AM 950, the magical station. And what I think Sarah and I kind of concluded we can talk about is the community right now. Many communities are looking for support, looking for connection, and hence the name of Minnesota Recovery
Connection.
Oh, imagine that. So when we think about that, one of the things that we do as an organization, we bring our recovery community in, we welcome them in, we meet them where they're at, so we can talk about all the good, awesome things that Minnesota Recovery Connection does. But then I think we want to take the conversation out to the greater community. That's kind of where I was thinking.
Yeah.
So Sarah has been our community engagement, among many other things.
Yeah.
And so why don't you educate what Minnesota Recovery Connection does as far as how we engage the community.
Sure.
And like our intern program, our volunteer program, and then kind of gives, like, I was going to be working with one of our interns. Like, she's kind of outside the net.
Yes.
So let's describe that.
Okay, so we'll start with interns. So right now we have an intern who's an ally to the recovery community. Her name is Caitlin.
And what's an ally?
That is someone who is not in recovery themselves but have lived experience with, like, their family member or a friend that has gone through substance use disorder and have found recovery.
So I would imagine there's a lot of allies out there in the world because those are the people who have maybe gone to Al-Anon at some point. They've got a family member, a friend, a partner, a child who struggled. And allies, I can't survive without my allies.
I can't either.
Yeah.
And so it's fun for me to have someone come in as an ally that wants to learn about the recovery community, how they can help.
Yep.
Despite not being in recovery themselves, but wanting to give back to something that is so important to their family or their friendship or, you know, whatever that looks like. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
And the willingness. And Caitlin, she's going to start our in-person all recovery meetings.
Ooh, what's an all recovery meeting, Sarah?
Our all recovery meeting is, it encompasses all recovery. So you can be in recovery. You can be recovery curious. So that's if you're contemplating being in recovery or not. You could be a family member, you know, it's open to anybody. And it's more of a check-in to see where you're at under the emotional, spiritual, physical, something else.
Emotional, spiritual, physical.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
See?
Emotional, physical, spiritual. Emotional? No, I said that. Okay, we'll come up with it,
Yep.
folks. We're having a real brain snap right here. Wow.
In
I
real
trained
time.
this. Yeah, in real time.
But anyway, it's just a check-in. People can ask for feedback or not. They can check in about their lives and just build that community, build that connection with other people. And then we're also adding another element to our in-person all recovery meetings that Caitlin is going to do some either mindfulness at the end of it or talk about self-care.
Wow. So we're going to just really, really envelop a person wholly and completely. Nice.
Yes.
Wow. That's going to be amazing. You know, and there was another young woman back in the day. Her name was Alyssa. Alyssa was a ally to the recovery community. She came in as a coordinator.
Through Recovery Corps.
Through Recovery Corps, AmeriCorps. And she was instrumental at the time in helping me because I was still a little new on the computer. I was having my struggles. We were redeveloping our complete Recovery Coach Academy. But what was so cool about that beautiful human was that she was going to the University of Minnesota to become a doctor. And
That's
so
right.
she took a year off to be with Minnesota Recovery Connection, going on her journey through being a doctor. She was going to know more about somebody with substance use disorder than probably any doctor of her age or time frame than anybody else. And I thought, kudos to you. Because we're a complicated group.
It is, and it's not talked about enough when
No.
you're going through school.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
certain subjects.
Things. Yeah. Now, obviously, if you're a drug and alcohol
Yeah,
counselor,
and that was all you learned.
Yeah, but still, if you're a person who has been affected by someone and you have that intrinsic idea of like, I need to know more. So it's really valuing our greater community who want to come in and help us out. So what are the other things that are community related that we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection?
So we also go out into the community itself. We go to different treatment centers, different recovery organizations, support each other. We talk about what we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection. They let us know what they do, and just build that community between two organizations. And then the biggest thing we have is our volunteer program that has grown exponentially.
Very good.
That's
a big word for Sarah.
We have a great group of volunteers. MRC could not survive without our volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering, sign up through our website. But it's just a great way to give back to the recovery community.
What are some of the opportunities that we do?
So the one I usually have people start off at is the front desk. Answering phone calls, transferring phone calls.
Welcoming humans.
Sometimes there'll be projects for them to work on from either Caddy or myself or someone else in the office. We also have our telephone recovery support volunteers.
What do they do, Sarah?
So we have people sign up through our website to receive a phone call from our organization once a week. They pick the time, the day, make it as customizable as they can. So our volunteers have gone through a training put on but through MRC. They call people that have signed up just to chit-chat about their recovery or life or whatever they want to talk about, and just see if they need any resources.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about telephone recovery support is that I was just talking to one of the volunteers last night. He had just gone through the training that I was sort of part of a couple of weeks ago. And he's like, I'm not exactly sure what to say. And I'm like, you're just saying hi.
And just being there.
And he was like, well, do I have to solve anything? Do I have to fix anything? And I said, absolutely not.
No.
I said, it's just kind of like having a conversation with a neighbor and you kind of say, hey, how you doing? In our case, we say, hey, how's your recovery going today?
Yep.
And it might evolve into absolutely nothing, or it could evolve into something much more.
And they just need someone to listen to.
Yeah.
To them.
And I think I've said it more times than many of you want to hear, which is sometimes a person that's struggling or, like you said, the sort of pre-contemplative, kind of like recovery curious. They're not like quite sure why they're doing what they're doing. Versus having somebody say, well, you really shouldn't do that.
Right.
They want to be heard. They want to say, hey, I'm going through stuff. I'm feeling really kind of weird. I'm feeling like I just want to escape.
Yep.
And that's what a telephone recovery support person can do. So if anybody who's listening knows somebody who's just kind of like hanging out there, feels really alone, feels really isolated, they can call us. We can have one of our volunteers call. Yeah, sometimes it happens exactly when it should. Sometimes
it doesn't. Just being fully transparent.
Yeah, it's a volunteer position. But what it is it's building community for people.
And also what I've seen from just our volunteer program that we have through Minnesota Recovery Connection, the accountability that people have had because they sign up for a shift. They know they need to be somewhere at a certain time on a certain day, and they make sure they show up.
Yep, that volunteer has accountability, and then that volunteer has accountability to the community because that person has asked for some help.
Yep.
And, it sort of builds this full circle on when we're talking about people that struggle with substance use disorder. Sometimes you don't know what you're not needing. You don't know what you don't know. And then you reach a hand out, or we've done an outreach and somebody says, oh, you mean somebody can just call me on a Tuesday at somewhere between like 2 and 5 and they'll just say, hi.
Yeah.
And that could be enough to change somebody's day around. Or we might just leave a message. That's what happened to the gentleman last night. He was leaving a lot of voicemails.
Oh, yeah, that can happen.
But what I said to him is I said, there's been enough phone calls that have come back where somebody has said, when they decided to answer the phone, it's like, it looks like you haven't answered the phone for a while. Just want to check in, make sure, how's your recovery going? I don't answer the phone a lot, but when you call, I know you have called and somebody cares.
Or they had a reuse, but we still called potentially and saw that we still called them, and they finally called us back and they said they appreciated, even though they didn't answer, but knowing that we were going to call them every week.
Yeah.
and just being there.
Yep.
So that's the power of community, is that we can show up for each other, not only just the recovery community, but the recovery or the community as a whole.
In general, yeah. And I think that's one of the things, there's a lot of discourse going on in the greater, in our country and in the world, and there always is. I mean, that's nothing new. But sometimes people feel like they're overwhelmed with the information that's coming at them. And then sometimes what we want to do, particularly people that might not have a ton of confidence or not have a ton of community around them, we fall back into behavior, or we pick up a new behavior, and that addiction. Now, let's talk about addiction. There's drugs, there's alcohol, there's the swiping that Caddy does on a regular basis and finds a whole lot of cat videos, or a lot of other things too. There's gaming, there's food addictions, there's TV, there's gambling, there's sex, there's I was looking at a list of these because I'm putting together a new training. There's exercising can sometimes become over.
I went to high school with a girl that's what happened to her. She got addicted to exercising.
Yeah, I mean it's not uncommon. You can become addicted to dieting or being so transfixed about food.
Yep, or how you look.
How you look, and so that body dysmorphia can then lead to other addictions or behaviors that have that kind of thing. So we want to be really open-minded about what addiction looks like. Yes, we work in a world where we talk about substances, but when somebody is feeling isolated or feeling as though they don't belong, that's when these behaviors can step in.
Or overwhelmed.
Just overwhelmed, yeah. How many people do you know at the end of the week are like, I'm so glad it's Friday?
I'm pretty sure that's what Caddy and I said to each other this morning. But, the thing is I don't watch the news. I get my news from Caddy. She's my news station. But I don't watch it because it overwhelms me.
Right.
And it makes me depressed and, because most times there's not anything good on the news.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. There's a lot of information coming at us.
Yes.
And it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of good things that are going on out there, so we're not just going to trash the whole world. No. But it's very true. There's a lot of information coming at us. And so
for me, to not get overwhelmed by just the world, coming to work and being able to give back to the recovery community in my way, and my role with Minnesota Recovery Connection helps me.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we want to talk about, and that is, so if we take the recovery world, we take our little piece of pie that we have of Minnesota Recovery Connection, and all the amazing things that we do.
Yes.
And that is, there is this ripple effect that goes on from our world. So we have individuals, we have families that maybe they've had to let their animals go. And so if you think about something that you want to do for the greater community, maybe you could go to the Humane Society and walk dogs.
Or pet the kitties. Yeah.
Yes, we have to both say pet the kitties.
Exactly.
Or even if there's your random guinea pig, or maybe there's even a snake. I don't know.
But if animals are your passion, figure out a way that you can give back to the animal community.
And the community at large, because, that's one way. Or maybe you're someone like me on occasion. I will go grab a garbage bag and pick up the trash. We're now at the end of winter, whatever winter we had.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of garbage that's happened. So walk down the alley of your street and pick up the trash that the trash people didn't intentionally, but they left behind. Or there's a lot of things that we can do for the community. Or, you can join a community organization. Like I have my Lindale Neighborhood Association.
That's right.
And they do a lot of incredible things. They've got computer classes for people that struggle. They've got language classes for people that struggle. They've got, we just had one of our navigators, Kinsey, who was on the last show, go to a housing information about, how do people deal with housing issues that are coming up, rental or evictions or denials or a bad landlord, those kind of things. So the thing that we're kind of talking about is there's a lot of things that we can do to help build our own community so we don't isolate.
Yes, that's very important, because if you have a community, then you might not feel as alone.
And alone can bring in behaviors that are just sometimes very potentially dangerous, harmful, or we can get into that brain space where nobody cares about me, and so then I don't care about myself. And normally that's not true, or maybe you've got somebody in your neighborhood who is more mature, maybe elderly, and that they don't have much going on.
Right. Go make a new friend.
Go make a new friend. Make a batch of cookies.
There you go.
And if this person won't be scared to open up the door to you, we have to be cautious. So we put a note on the door. It's like, hey, I know you live alone, or I know, I just know that you're there, and I would like to give you a plate of cookies, or
you go.
whatever, or have a conversation on a porch. I mean, it was so funny. I came home a couple nights ago, and it was 50 degrees.
Oh, yes. It's been so nice this week.
Oh, so great. And I remember I was driving home, and I was like, I want to get my backyard furniture out. I'm like, gosh, I just want to sit in the backyard. And I'm like, just a little too cold.
Yeah, I was going to say, it might be too early there, dear.
But my neighbors did.
Oh.
They were sitting out in they had to open up their garage door, and they were sitting in their little fold-out chairs, and I parked my car, and I just went over, and I'm like, you're reading my mind, folks. You're reading my mind. Just sitting outside. They're like, yeah, it's a little chilly, but we're just going to do it. And see, right there builds community.
Yeah.
Because I felt compelled to go over and just say, hey, how you doing? Because we haven't seen one another in 3 months
because we're all been inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when we think about how we can engage with people, it can be as simple as that. Or remember to, give somebody a nod when you're walking down the street. And, Caddy, the creepy one that used to say things to people in the grocery store. Hi, how's your day? When do you get off?
I've heard this story so many times.
And that's really not the thing to say.
No.
But engaging with people.
Yep.
Yeah,
and because it reminds people we're not alone, that we don't need to not talk to each other.
Yeah. We have to talk to one another. That's the only way that we're going to really, and that's really one of the essences, if we were to go there, of the work that we do in our organization and all the other recovery community organizations that we have in Minnesota and in recovery in general, and that is having a good, as best you can, conversation. And that's what this radio station AM 950 is about. It's all about a conversation.
Yeah. And it can be about anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be about your recovery.
No.
It can be about sports. It can be about quilting or whatever your passion is.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, I got to tell you something funny I saw last night when I was swiping.
Okay.
So, speaking of hobbies and crafts.
Okay.
So we know that Darnell Cox at our organization is like a incredible crocheter. Okay.
Incredible's not even the word. I don't even know.
He makes these amazing things, and he's going to try to put something on Etsy, and it's like a doll that you can crochet. Anyway, last night in my scrolling, there was, oh my goodness, y'all, imagine this. So imagine a bunch of turtles, probably the size of a large pancake. So they're all like in a big pond area, right? And they're just doing their little crawling around. But somebody made little hats that they put on the back of their shells.
Oh my gosh.
Shells. One was a pig, one was a dinosaur, one was
a cat. That sounds adorable.
And so these little turtles are going around, and they're just living life, and they got a little extra comfort going on the top of their shells. I took a picture of it so I could show it to Darnell, but I thought, oh my goodness, whoever you are a fantastic human.
That's so cute.
Isn't it amazing? But if you think about it, somebody can be at home and maybe they're feeling like they're just disjointed. You could get online and you could find a craft that you like to do, or you could go take a class at a community, like the high schools.
Because
community classes.
In Woodbury, we just got our summer catalog
in
the mail
about
all the classes that they're offering this summer at the community center and all the youth sports leagues and all those things.
Yeah.
But they're already starting to plan those.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in learning something new.
Yeah. And this is how we build community, folks. So if we can throw a topic on today, and that is sometimes people who struggle it's because they're alone, and how can we ourselves reach out? But then sometimes the effect of one person saying, hey, Sarah, you know what? I found this really cool crocheting class. Caddy, I don't like to crochet. I don't care if you do. We're going to go every other Thursday from 6 until 7 o'clock, and we're just going to crochet because
why not?
Because why not? And then what happens is that sort of trails out. You meet some new people. You get a new conversation going, and maybe you never go back to the class, but I had a nice intersection with Brett. I had a nice intersection with Patrick. I had a nice intersection.
And you've been saying that, and I just heard it.
Yes.
So.
Conversation. Intersection, conversation. It's all good. But it's like, we came out of a really tough many years of where we all stayed in. We need to step out and we need to get comfortable talking to people, because that's where I think we save lives.
That too. And I think it helps just remembering that there is good in the world and there's people that care about each other, whether you know them or not, but there's going to be caring people out there anyway. In a time where I feel like for some, it's hard to see that. So if you can find these little moments throughout your month that you can have these little interactions with somebody.
Yeah.
It can be a good thing.
It's an amazing thing. And there used to be, excuse me, back in the day, a lot of community, like there's churches. We all know that there's churches.
Yep.
And churches are fantastic. And there's all different kinds of churches now where they all have community events. And that used to be a very large way that people would interrelate and interact, because they'd have a luncheon here or an event there or a thing like that. So there's religion that you could go to as well, or some sort of spiritual environment. And the educational things and community-based events. We have our Walk for Recovery, September 13th, 2025, from 10 to 3 at the state capitol.
You'll hear that now until then.
Yeah.
Now until September. Yes.
But there again, it's about building community. And we have one kind of topic that we're on. But we have organizations that don't reflect the recovery community. I just love the fact that the Department of Corrections is there.
Yes.
And we have
the goats.
We have the goats. And what's so interesting is that my partner's daughter, Rachel, she is into equine therapy.
Horses, right?
Horses, yeah. She's looking at like, what's equine?
I know.
So equine therapy for individuals, and we know that that's a recovery journey, but it's also very much a trauma journey for people.
Yep.
So, there are so many ways that people can get support and get help, whether it's about their mental health, whether it's about their recovery from substances, whether it's their recovery from one of the other potential addictions that they've had. Opening up your scope, which is hard when we've been locked down for a while. We are having a hard time opening up. We're having a hard time communicating. People are looking for work now, and they're not communicating as much as we used to 5 years ago.
Yep.
And so what we need to do is we need to help one another. And that to me is just like the essence of what living in a neighborhood, living in a community, getting to know your neighbors, getting to know people around, and just having just light interactions can just change stuff.
Or just smiling at somebody when you're walking down the aisle at Target.
Yeah, just give them a big old glance.
Because why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Because you never know what, even if it's just a smile, you never know what that's going to do for somebody.
The effect on someone, yeah. And I'm kind of a little bit goofy. You know me.
I do.
I'll do that all day long. I'll just walk by somebody. Like we have the Department of Motor Vehicles outside our office now, which is really great because we're seeing a lot of humans. There's a downside too, but we won't go there.
No.
But when I'm walking in the parking lot, I'm seeing a lot of different people come through, and I'm like, I'll look at somebody and go, hey, and they'll kind of look at me a little weird, like, hey.
Who's this strange lady talking to me?
Who's this lady? But I realize in that moment, I might have just lifted somebody's day because we walk with our heads down a lot, or we're on our phones a lot, and we're in our cars a lot, or we're on public transportation where we kind of close in, or we're sitting here with, headphones on our heads doing the show. That's a lot of what people do. So this communication thing has changed.
Or even the phones have changed it so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Just in general.
Yeah, we're texting people. We're not talking to people.
Yep.
And I did it last night, too. I had a whole conversation. Then a couple of days ago, I was texting with somebody, and I really needed to get some information. Finally, this person just called me, and I'm like, yeah, this is probably a better way.
Because we're so used to just
living in a zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable with it.
Yeah. And we're not saying that anybody's got to do anything. What we're doing is we're reminding people that I know personally. So my substance use disorder, when I was struggling with my alcoholism back in the day, what I would do is I would go out with friends and I'd have a good time, but then I would do what I would call second tier. And I would go to a bar and I'd be by myself and I would drink by myself. So I called it my 2-tier drinking. And that was towards the end of my drinking career. I didn't go home. That wasn't something I did. And, some people drink at home, some people drink out. But I would go out and have a good time. But see, I wasn't done yet, Sarah. I wasn't done because that little crazy mind of mine, that addictive mind said, you need some more, Miss Caddy.
Oh, sure.
And I would do that. And I would do very inappropriate things in terms of driving while I was intoxicated and I'd knock on the table that it might blow the speaker out. I didn't hurt anybody. Yeah. That I know.
Or yourself.
Or myself, yes. But it's that isolation that can bring on behaviors that are very unbecoming. Mm-hmm. And so what we want people to understand that if they have a person who's struggling with substance use or struggling with something, chances are they're feeling isolated or they have some trauma that has not been dealt with. And so they're feeling afraid that if they disclose that, and that happened when I was having a group interview with the people who I'm going to be training next week. And somebody got very vulnerable in my group interview on Zoom. And they said, I won't say what happened, but they kind of opened up. And I said, see, that's the magic right there, friend. Yeah. When we have an ounce of vulnerability with another person, and then we have to be careful who we're going to do this. Not going to do this in the aisle of Target or Cub
please
Foods.
Don't. Yeah, don't do that.
But when we actually do open up and we say, hey, you know what? I've just been feeling so alone. I just can't communicate lately because of,
whatever
something.
Reason. Yep.
And somebody gives you that little window, you walk in and say, hey, tell me more. You want to talk about it? Don't tell anybody what to do. Oh, you know what you should do? Go see a therapist. Because that might not be comfortable for them because somebody might have had a bad experience with something. And so what we have to remember is that a lot of people, and I'm right there with them, I want to fix people all day long.
That's not what we do.
But it's not what anybody really should do. If somebody says, I need your help, can you give me a suggestion? Then that's opening the door.
Right. But if they just want to vent to you.
Or talk.
Yeah, then just let them do that.
Or cry. I mean, seriously. I'll be perfectly transparent. A good friend and I, she wanted to go and do a particular event tomorrow. And I said, actually, would you help me with something? And so I ended up having to be, I know.
You asked for help?
I know. I preach it all day long, but do I do it? And so I said.
So proud of you.
I know. Sarah's proud of me. But what I said, and I'll be open. My father passed away a year and a few months ago, and he lived in downtown Hopkins. And I have been avoiding that little city. I've been avoiding. There's a nice little downtown area. They got a lot of antique stores. I'm not actually into antiquing these days, but I said, do you mind if we go to coffee or we go maybe just have a bite to eat? I need to crack through the city boundary because I'll even avoid the city.
Oh yeah,
because I just I have an experience of my father's death and trauma and complications in relationships. And I can tell you all the places that we had dinners in that little city, and sometimes they were great conversations and sometimes they weren't. And so she's like, I'll do anything for you, Caddy. Where do you want to meet?
That's so nice.
But those are the kind of things that people might be holding on to something. And then they say, you know what, I guess I do need some help. And finding the time.
And being willing to be there for that person when they ask for it. Maybe not that same day, but just being willing to explore it, what that looks like, and just being there for somebody.
In that opportunity, yeah. And that takes time out of your day, or maybe it takes time out of your partner's day, or it takes time out of your away from your children. But remember, when somebody's asking for something, it usually means they really need help at that point. And and we can, I've said this to people, and that is, you can say, I can't do it now, but I can do it another time. So versus saying, no, I can't, it's like, I can't now, but this is when I
schedule
a time, a place, a situation. Because then that leaves that door open for somebody to say, okay, I guess they are okay with me asking. Because a lot of times, I know I kept my secrets and I kept my stuff deep inside me. Yeah,
I did too.
So when you've reached out to people, when you've had that moment,
I didn't like it.
No,
I did not like it.
Why.
Because I kept everything so close to me, especially when I was in my active use, because the stigma that goes with meth addiction and being addicted to that substance, there's that certain stigma and all that jazz. So I just kept everything to myself because I remember in treatment saying, I wish I was just an alcoholic.
Ugh.
Isn't that sad?
Well, but I mean, you saw a different side of what addiction looked like, and you thought that would be a better bet.
Yeah, because to me, there was more understanding for alcoholism
versus methamphetamine, meth addiction. Yep.
So I remember when I started seeing my therapist 5 years ago, maybe, I was like, this is weird. Because I just didn't like asking for help. I didn't like being vulnerable because that meant I have feelings and all this other things. But I grew up and I am comfortable with my feelings now and asking for help. But at first I was like, this is weird.
It's hard.
It is hard. And I also thought to myself, I went to school for drug and alcohol counseling. That's what my bachelor's degree is in.
Right.
Why can't I just fix myself?
Well,
you know what I mean, though, because I have
I'm so smart. Yeah, I went through these classes.
Right. So why can't I just fix myself?
Yeah. Well, guess what? We have to talk to somebody else because we got to get out of these craniums.
Yes.
We got to get out of this little loop, this hamster wheel that's up here. And that's what I realized, to your point, that's what I realized this morning. I'm like, you know what? I can help my friend and we can go do something, but actually I can do the reverse. I can ask for help.
You sure can.
I sure can.
And it's very important to ask for help, even if it makes you uncomfortable, because it could lead to a better way. It could lead to a better day. Hour, whatever that looks like.
And I think the flip side of that is that when we ask for help from somebody else, they get the opportunity to be helpful to someone else. So that makes them feel good too.
Yep.
Because this is not a one-sided deal.
No.
And I think that's what we feel like we're taking something from someone. Why would they want to do this for me? Because of all kinds of circumstances. But when in fact they're like, oh, I'm so honored that you asked for help. I'm so grateful because I've wanted to help you for a long time.
But I didn't know how. Wow.
Right on cue on that one.
But I think just the moral of the story for today's show is just show up for your community any way that you can. In whatever way is appropriate for you, your life, all those things. But just to help show people there are still good people in the world.
And that community is important. And
getting involved is important, whether that's petting the cute little kitties. My voice totally changed when I said that.
Totally did.
Wow.
Or taking a class or going for a walk and just nodding your head at somebody, but also getting out of our homes. I mean, we live in Minnesota, so we get trapped into these boxes, either a box at work or a box in a car or a box at wherever.
There's boxes everywhere.
Yeah. So how do we break loose from that as well? Because that's another thing. And we all know when spring and summer comes, woohoo!
Oh my gosh, when it was like 50 degrees on Sunday or whatever day that was, I was in such a good mood that day. Had the patio door open for a little bit. I was so excited.
Oh my gosh, you should see this girl's face right now. If you can see this on video, she just went to the moon.
But that's how weather can also play an impact on people.
Yes, very good point.
Now that it's going to, hopefully...
It'll continuously get better.
Yes. I think we're in the fake spring era right now. But
yeah, it's gonna tease us.
But I think once spring officially gets here, summer gets here, I think that will also help. My hope is for people to get out of their homes, get back outside, doing things, just having fun, living life.
Yeah. And, I think of being an old gal here, the mall walkers. Hey,
yes, my parents do that.
Yeah, oh, thanks. She just tossed me under the bus there, folks. My parents do that. Now, I can't say that I do it, but it's also another way that you can get out and move. And,
or going to Como Zoo.
Going to Como Zoo. Conservatory.
Yes, that's it.
Such a good thing.
Yes.
So, to wrap up an incredible conversation, commune with your community. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Yes. So we're going to take a quick break and come back. But we hope we've maybe given you some ideas. And remember that communication and connection is critical. Thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery. A revolution.
There's no home. And there's one thing that I've learned.
There we go.
Aaron Fitzgerald, when you picked this music, girl, you did some good stuff. Love this. Sorry. The weirds just totally hit y'all.
Yes, I think it's 2 or close to 2 o'clock, and that's usually when we get squirrely.
Everything gets weird. You know what's interesting? We just have a few minutes to close up the show, and it's just, I kind of went back in the time machine a little bit when I was thinking about, my drinking habits back in the day. And when people are caught in a cycle, it's really hard to break out.
Especially the longer you're in it.
Yeah. And I just want to say that I was stuck for a long time. I had good people around me. They tried really hard. They didn't know what to do. I wasn't going to do things the way any normal person would because I'm Caddy Frank.
Yep.
There just ain't no doubt about it. But if you hear, you see people that are behavior is different or acting different, use that communication tool.
Yep.
Because
you just remind people they're not alone, even if they're not willing to do anything about it at the moment, but just reminding them, hey, I'm here for you when you're ready.
Yep. And sometimes that's some of the hardest doors to open because we think if we do that, then we have to be vulnerable. They have to be vulnerable. I'm scared how they're going to react. They might be mad. They might be sad. And you might not know what to do with your own emotions at that point.
Or scared about your reactions to things.
Right. So I just, it's just like I did a little whoosh, back into my time machine there. And I remember a wonderful woman named Kathy. She came over after my first DWI and she just sat at my feet. And I had a dream about her last night too. It's so weird. But she just sat at my feet and she knew I was in a heap of hope, like a bunch of trouble.
Yeah.
But she didn't try to fix it or anything. She was just present for me.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest takeaway from today's show is just showing up for each other, showing up for your communities, the animals, the whatever that looks like for you, just showing up.
Yep. Let's get out of our heads, get into our hearts. I always tap my chest when I say that, the definition of empathy is feeling with people. And when we think about that, if someone feels with you or you feel with someone, there's something that's shared. And that is like the greatest gift we can give to one another. All the money in the world, all the events and things that we can go out and do. But when you share an emotion or you share space with somebody,
that makes a world of difference. I know it does for me.
Yeah. For all the people that we know. So there's our takeaway of the day. So, we are doing a lot of different things at Minnesota Recovery Connection as far as looking for different volunteers to help our community, interns for our community. We're always looking for donations for our community. I'm just going to say thank you to all that do and all that could possibly. $1 is fine. 5 million would be fantastic.
Yes.
But that might be a big ask. So, but remember, your donations to our organization help the entire recovery community. So if you know anybody who's struggling, remember that we're one organization, but we are one of many.
Yes. And
one of the things I want to say before we close, and that is some of the recovery community has gotten some bad press lately.
Yes.
And a lot of organizations and a lot of big companies, small companies can make a big mess out of things. But the people who are behind what somebody did and maybe didn't do the right thing with money or finances or their beliefs, remember there's a human behind that. There's a lot of people. There's a person behind that business, particularly when we're in there to help people. So remember to help your people in your neighborhood, in your communities, in your families. So Sarah,
Thank you for letting me come on today.
I know. I'm
I was
super
so
excited
excited
to have you. Yes. Sarah's my little co-host.
I
And
am.
I'm kind of running to find a lovely human. So for all of you out there listening, take care of yourselves. Take care of your community. Thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution. Goodbye,
Bye.
Sarah.
Bye, Caddy.
Have a good day, everyone.
You too.
Bye.